Hello, everybody. Brian here from quantlabs.net. Today, I wanted to do just a bantering video. If you are wanting to learn stuff, you ain't going to get it from this video, but you may get some interesting tidbits about Jim Simons and Renaissance Technologies. So if you're online, we're online live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Just so you know, if you are into technology and trading, there seems to be a lot of you out there that have that type of passion. I do have a book here that is probably read about a few thousand now. I don't track it, but some people love it, some people don't. So let's talk about James Simons. So right here is the book I'm referring to. If you want, you can always get your info, sign up, and of course, get your free books. There's two of them. And in one of them, I've got a product in there that I'm testing quite marvelously. If you're into Ross Cameron, Warrior Trading, Tim Sykes, this product, this free open source product will do the exact same in what they do. And it's all for free. So I'm testing it out, really good results on the Singapore markets. Also, if you are into algo trading, we got this as well. So always come over to the quantlabs.net/DVD. There's a web course available. They'll introduce you to trading bots and Python and MotiveWave for just MotiveWave trading as well as programming. So let's get on with this article. Now, this article is found over at Towards Data Science. This is pretty well why a lot of people get into trading. And funny enough that Jim Simons has had a book written about him late last year that just came out. So he's the man that we all follow. He's 82, 83. He's worth something like $20+ billion. He's added, I think, another $10 billion on his net worth over the last 10 years, or since 2014. So you imagine just added $10 billion, and that's all because of what he does. So as you know, machine learning is the big thing right now. So the book I'm referring to is called The Man Who Solved the Market. I have on my blog a variety of stories on the blog about this book and about all the stuff that Jim Simons has done when he launched Renaissance Technologies. He's been on average getting about 20, 30 plus every year for the last number of years. I think last January, a year ago, that they had a loss for a little while, which is the first in a long time. So I do follow these guys for a long time. Now, the funny thing is, when you look at this article, if you got any questions or comments, please chime in. These videos are for you, not for me. Like I said, I'm just introducing you to this article. Again, the article, for those on the podcast, the name of the article is on towardsdatascience.com. How Renaissance Beat the Markets with Machine Learning. A bunch of smart mathematicians and computer scientists use machine learning to model financial markets and bet on them. So continuing along, first tip here is financial knowledge isn't optional. That may be true, but it does help to stay out of the markets when you do what I do, beyond apps and posting stuff and people, these analysts saying this will happen, that will happen. 99% of them are wrong. So there is truth to this statement that you don't need to know financial knowledge. When you do get into Renaissance technology, you usually have to have a physics degree or astrophysics or something outside of finance. And we're talking at a PhD level. They obviously want mathematicians, probably computer scientists, and all that fun stuff. Rationalizing the models, predictions is not top priority. A lot of people don't know this, but the author of that book, what he did was, in an interview that I posted, he said that if it wasn't for a bug that a programmer had discovered, put out by Bob Mercer, who did quite a bit of the programming from IBM in linguistics research, they wouldn't be here where they are today, all because of one bug. Something just didn't match up, and they fixed it. and that's when they started finding success. So sometimes a model prediction is not your top priority. So what they do is they have these bookathons, I think they call them, where they read books every week. They report the list every week. So it's quite the interesting way to research and share data among all the staff over at RenTech. And obviously, deep learning models is their big thing. All their technologies house internally built. So it's a big deal. They've also had not court cases, but Congress hearings. There was an accusation of how Renaissance Technologies was cheating on their taxes by some special derivative that they'd set up that the IRS had a problem with. That's all out in the open. You can get videos on that. You can see what they trade, what their holdings were. Doesn't reveal a whole lot, but it'd be pretty interesting if somebody went out and started digging into all this and what's publicly available there on my blog. I've got some interesting research papers from Mercer and Brown, the two lead guys over at RenTech today. So here's another one. Research papers are likely wrong. And that's probably true, because you got to remember, research papers are coming out from usually PhD students doing their papers for their graduate year or whatnot. So who knows if they're properly done? They're not actual traders. Here's the point. If the researchers had finally found alpha, they wouldn't have published it in the first place. But as the guy says, that the author of this article says that finding papers is a source of inspiration. I have a whole treasure trove of research papers from all the banks and their whatnot. The problem is there's inconsistencies. There's consistencies among all of them, but always remember, when there are documented opportunities, they usually last for a week, a day, a month, who knows? So it's very short-lived. Those research papers may not be valid over the long term. Everything really comes down to timing when it comes to trading. Have a single trading model instead of creating a unique trading model for every asset. That's not true. I don't know if I've gone public with this, but I have talked to one of the guys that back in the early 80s when RenTech was being started. One guy from way back when reached out to me, and he was the guy who sold all the Sun servers for Solaris to Renaissance Technologies, and he became an insider with Renaissance Technologies. And the story is that they probably have a couple of hundred strategies on standby that they've developed, and they deploy whatever strategies needed for the market conditions at that time. And that's usually how they do it. They have put so much research into models that I don't think it's just one model that is universal for all market conditions. It's not possible at all. So I've worked with, if you go onto my YouTube channel, look up London Quant, he's given me quite a lot of tips too. And he's probably as good as, well, he is the best guy I've come across out of the thousands of people I've dealt with. And he's coached me on a lot of things. And one of the things that he told me is that there's usually one algo, but what really drives market conditions are the parameters for that model. And that's what the secret sauce is. But that changes over time. And it's just really looking at high frequency data, usually tick data, level 2, level whatever, how deep it goes. And they're just analyzing it and have those the parameters change on the fly in real time to readjust and predict equity curves. And that's kind of what he built. And he showed me that, and it works. And there's technology software out there that kind of can do it, but that's third party. It's not cheap. So this reminds me of transfer learning and neural networks, just right here. Good representation of how a huge image data after can append any downstream task with great success. This works better one model for another downstream where you usually don't have to be labeled data, blah, 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 blah. Okay, fine. That's fine. So many points do we have here? I'm on unfortunately, a timeline. I might be able to continue this in about later today. But industrial grade coating is crucial. See, here's the two guys, Bob Mercer and Bob Brown. These are the guys that are currently running it. They had coding systems at IBM, so they had a huge swath of coding over the, like, we're going back to the early 80s, and everything they do is pretty well in C++. Mike has popped in. Hey, I checked data science on DeepMind, released Mu0 model reinforcement trading. I'm training this the third day, and it's starting to be profitable. That's awesome, but I hope that what you found is profitable can be sustainable over 6 months or a year, but the market conditions can change. But thanks for putting that in. If you got a feedback, let me know. Anybody else do the same, please. It's all about you guys. As we enter an era where anyone can do machine learning in 4 lines of code, I'm sorry, those are not people that know about real, true machine learning. No, there's a comic about that, and it's true. It's great to remember that this industrial grade coding is crucial to ensure everything runs smoothly in production. You got to know really a lot about math and coding it in an efficient way. That's the key, okay? You can't do it with TensorFlow and expect TensorFlow or whatever other machine learning library to give you answers. I'm going to be moving back to MATLAB. You know, I think when you come up with a potential trading a problem and you come up with some model, if it's universal for anything, any time frame, and can sustain you for a long time, that's awesome. I had one that did really well. I was getting 80% wins this time last year, and it died off. It started in December, died off in April. I've talked about that, and it's in crypto as well. But it's just all based upon a trend in the market that I took advantage of. And there are lots of trends like that in the crypto space. Trade your edges to its capacity. People have wondered why competitors have not caught or replicated it, and one possible is that once they find they trade to its maximum capacity. That's what I'm referring to. They trade it full on, such the anomaly no longer appears, and that's also can be said for dark pools as well. That's why they exist, because the data sources are so prevalent and out in the open. This essentially makes the markets more efficient. That's true as well, and the arbitrage can be arbitrage away. If you listen, I put up a video, an interview between Peter Brown and Bob Mercer about that, and that's what they talk about. They always come up with models, but it's very short-lived because they get arbitraged out, and the opportunity is no longer available. You may see that for like a day, or very very short-lived, as I said. But if you got something, put the metal to the pedal and just maximize it. It's the same when the Swiss National Bank decided to depeg from the Swiss franc and depeg it from the euro. It went crazy for 2 days, and you could have made a boatload of money. Garbage in, garbage out. Team's initial models were not successful, mostly hand collected. After Sandro Strauss clean inputted, they were also improved their models and leveraged during a time when open close to make trading. As we put our data science projects, important to make sure the inputs are correct. That's true. One thing is a lot of people use closing price. The Lennon Quant always told me use the midpoint between the open and the close. Things like that you may never think. Don't rely on what you read online or watch on YouTube or whatever. Don't trust the models 100%. Long-term capital market, we know about them, went bust. Yeah, just don't rely on it. And from what I've been told, Renaissance probably by now, when I was told this tidbit 10 years ago, they probably have well over 1,000 strategies right now, or some crazy number. I'm sure of it. This is crucial for quant, especially when we sometimes do not know why this model spits out its predictions. This is the other thing too. When I use MotiveWave, one of the tools that I like to use is the Optimize for backtesting. You may have a trading idea, but you span it across 30 instruments. You may think, oh, that's awesome, looks great. But there's going to be one instrument in there that will be great that it works for. And I could show you multiple times right now with MotiveWave. But the model is great and it works. But again, when you look at it, in my case, it was the US-Mexico peso. And nobody can trade that because of the spread cost. So the model works, but only on instruments that are short-lived, as I said. Quants for Humans 2 reacts emotionally to market moves. Yeah, apparently when Jim Simons was on holiday, there was something happened and he got involved with it while he was on holiday. So yeah, I mean, sometimes these guys will override some of their models that are hard to keep your cool, even when you are the greatest quant, and you should try not to intervene or override algorithms. I could see that. Don't mess with the rules. Lastly, how many points we got here? So we got 11 here. Longer term anomalies are harder to profit from. That's what I just said. Leave the long-term strategy for funds. They are open to outsiders. Yeah, and just ride some trends. I mean, nothing wrong with that. Money's money. It doesn't matter where it's coming from. The external fund, REIF, has struggled to match the returns of Medallion. Again, if you guys want to chime in, please do so. Beating the markets with machine learning is tough. I think just beating the markets with anything, whatever, discretionary or traditional technical analysis, any kind of, is very hard to do. And when you do, it's usually short-lived from my experience. When the team was boggled by when the models were not working, being a static S&P 500 index value in one of their many lines, messing up the... See, this is just an example of a piece of code that can mess up your predictions. Yet the team persisted and overcame every obstacle, becoming the most successful quant fund of all time. So that's what I'm saying. Don't give up. And I'm using my experience, but I'm always evolving and learning. And innovation doesn't stop. Competitors learn, try to mimic their success. Renaissance keeps finding new ways to outsmart the market. You got a couple of 100 PhDs there. I mean, and then they're, I mean, it's a large company, and that's all they do is research. Given that they're the best and only around 51%, the rest of us have work cut out for us. Very true. Here's the author, Gregory Zuckerman, weaved together a great tale of how colorful Renaissance is. And again, the book was called The Man Who Solved the Market, right here. So you can get that there. That's pretty well it. If you guys got any comments or concerns, let me know. If not, as a reminder, we do have the DVD if you want to learn about algo trading. We do have a web version. It's available for $10 or something, very cheap. Motive Wave, that's the platform I'm using for the last 2-3 months, and the trading bots as well for crypto and Forex. And if you even want more, you got the free trading books as well. Just come over to quantlabs.net/book, sign up, and get a series of books available to you. No questions asked. And a reminder as well, we have webinars. We hold them every Monday at 12 noon. Come on out for that to the next webinar on Monday, and that'll be all cool. And that's pretty well. Any comments from anybody out there on the Facebooks? Thanks to Mike for his comment. I appreciate that on Facebook. Or I'll put the links in for those that are interested. Again, this is for the book. And then we also have the DVD. I'll put that out there if you're interested. And you can get all that stuff. Sign up, folks. It's pretty sweet stuff. All right, so I'll leave it at that if there's no comments. And I'll be doing another one later today on machine learning. And that article is about people are doubting machine learning, and I'd love to have a discussion about that. But thanks again for Mike. Yes, I'm online live. Mike had a question. Okay, Ravi's asking, am I online? Yes, quantlabs.net. I put the links in to the site, and you can explore quantlabs.net/blog. Also, do you have any good paper on spiking neural networks, this kind of new thing that does not require back propagation? I am looking for something with straight explanation. All the best. No, but I will tell you, probably the best resource out there is easily MATLAB, MathWorks. Just do a poke around there. They got lots of good research and documentation, and make life easy for those wanting to do machine learning. I love Python, been working with Python, but when I started looking at where MATLAB is at in the machine learning, life is easy. And my big thing in 2020 is about quick implementation of trading ideas. just for example, here, I am currently testing 2 algorithms, testing the performance, and I can, the one on the right, I'm able to deploy in 20 minutes. Okay. So Ravi, email me if you have a problem. I can't do it here. Oh, if it's UDP and TCP, you should go to Stack Overflow or something for that. I wish I could help you. That's pretty deep for me. I think I'm going to have to go, guys, but I'll be back online later today. So if you want, just subscribe, click on the bell. You probably heard it in other people, and you'll get notified on when I go live. And I'll be doing that later today. And I might do some crypto analysis and maybe some Forex has been dead lately, but that's pretty well it. Anybody else? Ravi says he only has 64 BPS lines that can be supported in TCP. That kind of help I can't help you, Ravi. I wish I could, but that's a little deep for me. All right, but honestly, just try. You'd be surprised on what you get on Stack Overflow. They're very good. Just provide your code if you can do that. Any other questions? If not, thanks for watching, guys. Another great video. We shall talk to you later, and thanks for watching. Have a good day.